You ever feel like you're studying for hours but barely making progress? Like you're grinding, but the grades don't reflect it? Here's the thing, the problem isn't you, it's how you're using your time. There's a principle in sociology known as the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule. What it means that is that 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. This applies to all areas of your life, not just studying. For example, you probably have a bunch of clothes in your closet. Do you wear all of them the same amount each? No. You probably wear 20% of the clothes that you have 80% of the time, while the other 80% of clothes are just left to collect dust. How this relates to school is that 80% of your test score may come from 20% of the material that was covered, i.e., higher yield topics, where 80% of your productivity is from 20% of the time where you were laser focused. So why this matters is that we need to be able to identify the 20% in your studying that matters the most and focus on that instead of focusing on the 80% that is just fluff. If you're putting in 10 hours of studying and getting results from only two of them, you don't need to grind harder, you need to grind smarter. I will teach you exactly how to do that. As a medical student, there are two important factors in how I'm able to learn and retain all the information that was required from us. These two factors are one, active recall, and two, spaced repetition. I will teach you how to implement both of them. Active recall is when you are actively trying to remember something. For example, I could tell you that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That wouldn't be active recall, though. That would just be passively learning the information. Passive learning is not at all effective for retention. Versus if I asked you, what is the powerhouse of the cell? You have to think about that for a second and then recall, oh, yeah, that's the mitochondria. Active recall is best done through flashcards and practice problems. You can make your own pencil and paper flashcards, or you could use a website called Quizlet to make flashcards that way. Or you could use a different program called Anki to make flashcards. Anki is what we all use in medical school since it offers the greatest degree of customizability and explanations. The download link for it will be in the description. The second principle that helps me in medical school is spaced repetition. If you read in your textbook that the mitochondria was the powerhouse of the cell, and then you read it again 5 minutes later, and then read it again 5 minutes after that, you're just wasting time and not learning efficiently. Rereading something right after you just learned it is not going to help you remember it better. The best way to remember things is through spaced repetition, where you space out when you try to review content. For example, if today was Monday, you could read through the entire chapter on the mitochondria today. And then instead of going back over it today, you could go back over it tomorrow after you finish going through tomorrow's content. So you go through tomorrow's content and then you read through what Monday's content was again. And then if you want to space it out even more after that, instead of reviewing on Wednesday, you could review Monday and Tuesday's content on Thursday. So there's a 2 day buffer where you try to learn it again. This is so powerful for learning as your brain is constantly being exposed to the information right as it's about to forget it. This is another reason I'll recommend Anki as spaced repetition is built into its algorithm already. For example, if I saw a flashcard today asking me about the mechanisms of blood flow into the right heart, Anki will determine when I last saw that card and then determine if I need to see that card sooner or later. Not only do I get built-in active recall with Anki, but I also get built-in spaced repetition. It's the best of both worlds. I highly recommend downloading it if you're a student. It's the 20% of effort that will get you 80% of results in your classes. It can be a little complicated to set up and start making cards for it, but there are videos online to help you with that. And these are all the small tips I have for you that will make a big difference for your studying. When you're walking away from this video, I don't want this to be another video where you just binged and you didn't implement anything from it. The next time you are studying, I hope you try to implement at least one or both of these principles into your studying. You'll see a big difference in how much you remember, and downstream of that, you'll see a big difference in your grades. If you're considering applying to medicine or you're a medical student already, click the top link in the description where you can join a community of like minded individuals, as well as receive additional courses on learning, motivation, and retention. I bid you all farewell.